I'll be back here so soon after the birth of my baby girl. I'm in the labour ward. So I've been getting really intense abdominal cramps, which obviously are normal while your uterus is contracting, like going back to its normal size. But my uterus cannot be felt anymore, so it's all back to normal. And I'm still getting like contraction pains and severe cramping, and the bleeding like whacked up a notch this morning. There was a lot more blood this morning, and I'm just finding myself hunched over in pain. So we called 111. I actually called 111 a few days ago, and they said if you get any more pains, go straight to hospital. So this morning I rang them. They got a nurse to call me back. They sent me paramedics, and I'm here in the labour ward, waiting to be examined and see what's wrong, because 2 weeks past birth is a bit longer than the norm, but we don't know yet. So here I wait. I look like a mess, look at me. Got my old gas and air. Oh, I'll update you later. Waiting to be picked up now. And let's hope I'm never back in this labour ward ever again. Hey everyone, so as you just saw, I've been back in hospital. Just 2 weeks to the day that I gave birth. And believe it or not, I was in the labour ward as well. So let me just explain that to you. For the past 2 weeks since I had my baby, I have been experiencing some severe cramps, like in my tummy, like period pain, like pregnancy cramps. And they've almost been like contractions. They've kind of been not just at the front but around the back as well, and they just felt like contractions. It honestly just felt like I was in labour again. It was horrible. I really did struggle, in all honesty, with the pain. And yeah, it got to the point where it was so bad, like I would be hunched over in pain, could barely walk, could barely move. Everything was just excruciating, like it was horrible. And I ended up calling 111, our non-emergency line, and explained it to them. They basically, they just said, oh, well, we'll get a doctor to call you. It doesn't sound like it's anything too serious. We'll get a doctor to call you, which a doctor did, but it wasn't the doctor I normally see. It was just any doctor from the practice that was available. She rang me and she basically said, if you continue to get these stomach pains, go straight to hospital, because we do not know without feeling and looking what is wrong. So I left it. That was the Thursday, I believe. And then on the Sunday, I woke up at about 5 o'clock in absolute agony. Absolute agony. I really struggled to get to the toilet. I was, like I said, hunched over in pain. I could barely move. I sat on the loo and my whole body lifted with the pain. It was like a wave of pain. It was just like I was in labour. That's the best I can explain it. If you've been in labour, you'll know that that's pretty, like, horrible to be going through when you've already done it 2 weeks prior. So yeah, and I didn't go straight to hospital because I just didn't want to make a big deal out of it.
Also, I've got 2 kids and stuff, so it was just kind of, I didn't really want to go that far. So I just rang, no, I went on 111 again, but online. I did a form online, put in my symptoms, and it basically said, we will get someone to call you within half an hour. Got a call pretty quickly, and the lady sent an ambulance. She sent some paramedics because she said you do need to get looked at. Normally they say pregnancy pains and everything should kind of fade by day 10. It's obviously not an exact, but that's kind of the average that people stop getting their pains. And I was obviously day 14 and it was pretty intense. So paramedics came. They took me to hospital. I had some blood tests, urine tests. They took me up to the labour ward. They did an examination. They felt my tummy and they came to the conclusion that it was my bowels. Now, I have got some problems with my bowels since the pregnancy. Just another glamorous side effect, should I say? I don't know if I should really call it a side effect, but, you know, something not so pleasant that you can get, I've got now. And it's just been really painful, and I'm not able to go to the loo as regular, and it's painful, and yeah. So they came to the conclusion that everything was fine and it was just my bowels. So the advice was to drink lots of water, to take like a laxative every day just so that I can go to the loo easier and it's not so painful. Take pain relief every couple of hours, just kind of keep topping up the pain relief. And they said it could last up to 6 weeks. It's just a pregnancy thing, you know, postnatal, you're 2 weeks gone. It's still quite early and you've just got to let your body get back to its normal way. So I'm doing okay now that I'm back on the pain meds, and I'm doing everything that I should be doing. I am more able to cope. I am staying at my mum and dad's for a week whilst Johnny is working because I do need to have the support in case I do have an episode where I'm really in a lot of pain and I can't move. But that's why I was in hospital. So that is long story short. Now I'm going to go back and tell you about my labour. I'm going to make it as brief as possible. I don't want this video to be stupidly long, but my labour was different with Kayla. So I was going to be induced. I was going to be induced a week prior to her due date. I went in and there was a complication. They hadn't booked me in properly and they weren't allowed to do anything without the signature that they required, and there was no signature. There was a booking for me, but no signature, no notes, no reason why I should be there to be induced. Then I started getting contractions. Really intense, very different from what I had with Brandon. With Brandon, it was like a wave. This was just like a pressure, like a big pressure pushing feeling in my backside. It was just horrible. I had one, didn't know it was a contraction, but it was pretty intense and I wasn't sure what it was. 20 minutes later, another one. Then another 20 minutes, I had another one. And I remember saying to Johnny, I think these are contractions. 15 minutes later, I had another one. 15 minutes later, I had another one. Then it went 10, 10, 10. Anyway, I kept going to the nurse and saying, look, I need to go to the labour ward. You can't have me lying here in pain and tell me everything's okay. They were going to send me to the labour ward to get my waters broke because I was already 4 centimetres dilated by this point anyway. She checked my cervix again and I was still 4 centimetres, but she said my waters felt like they were ready to break. So they were just waiting for the labour ward to say, yep, you can come down. But obviously you're not a priority if you need to break your waters over somebody whose waters have already been broken and they're in labour. But because of the contractions and they saw how much pain I was in, like Johnny left at 9 because the visitor has to go at 9. And I literally, within minutes of him going, I was calling him back saying, they're taking me to the labour ward, come back. But they did. They let me go to the labour ward at this point because they could see this girl's in labour. So yeah, had a nice big room. I had an epidural, which worked perfectly. Like, it didn't with Brandon, but this worked perfectly. And I didn't, feel much, apart from contractions. You can't really get away from those. Had pethidine. That really made me say some crazy stuff. I will link the video below in the description box, and you can watch the labour story unfold and see the random stuff that came out of my mouth from the pethidine. What else? Yeah, I mean, I was in labour 5.5 hours. With Brandon, I only pushed 3 times and he came out, but with Kayla, we did short bursts. So it was like 3 pushes, then have a break. 3 pushes, then have a break. I think I must have been pushing for around 40 minutes-ish, 45 minutes maybe. So that was the length of the actual delivery. But this time was very different because obviously there was no complications. She was born, put straight in my arms. I got to see the placenta. My husband got to cut the cord. It was just different. The pain was different. The duration was different. Everyone said it'd be quicker this time. Second ones are always quicker. And, well, actually, Brandon was 4 hours labour and Kayla was 5.5. Still short and sweet, I think. Definitely don't want to do it again, though. But, yeah, it was just crazy. And then, basically, they took me to the rest, what's it called? Just the postnatal ward. And I had a room with a few others, and I was there, I think, most of the day. They let me go at the end of the day. But it was just, it was surreal. I remember feeling the head come out and being like, okay, now I need to either get her out or suck back in. It was that kind of feeling like, it's really uncomfortable now, something has to be done. I was like, I need to push. Had gas and air, love that stuff. Yeah, it was very different. And hopefully the last time I'm ever going to do that again. But yeah, I'm overjoyed to have a baby girl. And yeah, that's my labour story. I know it's not very long. I didn't really want to drag it out and make this video really long and boring for everyone, but that's pretty much it. I mean, the long and short of it is that, you know, that's kind of what happened. And yeah, everyone loves a labour story, right? After birth is hard, and I definitely don't want any more kids because the recovery just seems to be just as hard as the pregnancy and the labour. But I will get through it. I only have another, 4 more weeks, and then hopefully it's all going to be okay. Famous last words. But yeah, that is it. I do hope that you enjoyed it. If you've got any questions about my labour story, anything that I may not have mentioned or forgotten about, then do leave your questions in the comments below and I'll try and get back to you. But all in all, pregnancy sucks. Labour and delivery kind of sucks. After birth and recovery sucks, but it's all worth it. The pain is worth it. It doesn't get better, like they say, with the more kids you have because your body's used to it. Absolute rubbish, it gets worse. And I don't want any more kids. And I'm sorry if you've had one and you're expecting a second. I don't want to scare anyone. And there are people that do it over and over again, so it's obviously not that bad. But for me, I'm done with it. My body's done with it. And yeah, I do hope that you enjoyed this video. And yeah, I'll see you all again in the next one.